Hello everyone, Dr. Kaylee Garrett Simmerman here, pelvic floor physical therapist, owner and founder of Down There Docs, and also Fem Empowerment and Advocacy, Core Upgrade, The Bladder Solution, and also Fem Empowered Birth. I'm super excited to be here today and chat with you about the role of pelvic floor physical therapists when it comes to sex education. In the past week, there's been a lot of things going on Instagram about new terms and new conditions that have come about that are starting to kind of censor content for people that are talking about sex or educating on sex education, sexuality, and things like that. I don't fully 100% know what that entails, but as a pelvic floor physical therapist, many of us are just paying a little bit more attention to the verbiage and the words that we use just in case we do disappear. And the reason that it's important for us to talk about is, remember, pelvic floor physical therapists are tailored around the pelvic health realm of bowel health, bladder health during pregnancy, postpartum, things like urinary incontinence, things like pelvic pain. We also do talk a lot about sexual dysfunction. And I think the most important thing first to discuss is, what is the definition of sex? Because I think that the false perception is that sex is only intercourse, and that's just not true. Sex can be anything that gives you sexual pleasure, makes you feel pleasure, makes you feel sexual at all. That can include kissing, hugging, oral sex, anal sex, anything like that, sex toy use, and all of that. And I think it's just, again, really important to understand that those conversations do lie within the scope of practice for pelvic floor physical therapists. We need to be, and we should be, discussing those with you. What I mean by that is, if I have a client that comes in and they're experiencing pain with sex, I'm not just going to tell you that, oh, if you have pain with intercourse, then you can't have sex. No, we have to be able to give you other options. We need to talk about sex toys and how we don't want to use them always and only. We want to automatically and also work on manual touch. What do we like? Are we sensitive behind the ears? Are we sensitive on the forearms, inside the thighs? Don't go straight for the clitoris with things like masturbation. And again, pelvic floor PTs, we should be talking about self-exploration, because it's not something that should be ashamed of. We should discuss these things because sexuality is a normal function. It is a function that we live with and that we strive for. We are created because of being able to have sex. And so know that painful sex is never normal. There are a lot of things that we can do and discuss. For instance, painful sex is called dyspareunia. There's superficial dyspareunia, there's deep dyspareunia. What this means is there's either pain at the entrance with intercourse or sex toy, or at the entrance of the anus. And it can also be with your hands or with your partner's hands. If you're having pain with that, we need to figure out the root cause. The root cause of those things can be so many things. The root cause can be sensation issues. It can be signals from the brain. It can be a muscular dysfunction. So we have to figure out what the cause of is that. And then we have deep dyspareunia, which is the deep pelvic pain. And that is not the superficial layer, but when something is entered into the vaginal canal and you experience pain deep inside. And then you can also have pain with thrusting. And so figuring out the true definition of your type of pain with sex is super, super, super important. So you come in, we talk about that. We figure out what type of pelvic pain or pain with sex you're having. Then we figure out the cause. Once we figure out the cause, we progress into the treatment. And that's where sex education comes for pelvic PTs. We're going to talk to you about positions. We're going to talk to you about lubrication, different types of lubrication. We're going to talk to you about estrogen and hormones. We're going to talk to you about health of the pelvic floor and the vaginal canal before, during, and after sex. We're going to discuss certain positions with you. And so I urge you to be sure that you reach out to a pelvic PT if you're experiencing any pain with sex, or if you're experiencing pain with inserting a tampon, because that can lead to painful sex, pain with inserting a menstrual cup, anything like that. Also be mindful if you are postpartum or if you have had children and you are having difficulty wrapping your mind around, what does sex look like for me now postpartum? That is a great time to see a pelvic PT, because the education, figuring out what's going on. Is there scar tissue from the vaginal delivery? Is your core, is it limited from being able to do the things that it needs to do? We need to be able to discuss those and go into breath work, and then being able to go into pelvic floor work, relaxing the pelvic floor, contracting the pelvic floor, and discussing discussing all of those things in the office so that we can get you back to having sex for the function of having sex and the joy and the pleasure of it. So that's really what a pelvic PT's role is in sexual education and in sex in general. We can really help with sexual dysfunction. And that's really, I've only touched on the female side of things, because we can also treat erectile dysfunction, testicular pain, tip of the penis pain for men. There's a lot of different realms that we can go through to help you and navigate around these situations that are causing so much pain and discomfort. So know that if you're a male, that does not exclude you from reaching out to a pelvic PT. There are many of us that treat men and women. Also, if you are a transgender and you're experiencing pain, or homosexual and you're experiencing pain, please know that we also have the training to be able to route around that, or there are specialists in that area that can really truly help you. Because the goal is for all of us to have pain-free sex, oral sex, anal sex, vaginal sex, whatever kind of sex you want to have, and without having pain from that, or without fearing having pain from that. So if you have any questions, please be sure to let me know. We would love to be able to help you. Remember, from now, today's date is December 20th in 2020, and until the 31st, we are offering $100 virtual sessions. I'll be sure to put that link below. Also, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, because you're going to get lots of information about my business, about pelvic health, about women's health, and all the things every Wednesday and Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you next time.